Good evening and welcome to episode 35 of Star Wars Culture Live, a fairly new podcast focusing on Star Wars excitement and connection, your escape pod for hyperspace buzz and fandom fixes. How many episodes do we have to do before we say a fairly new podcast? It's less than a year.
I'd
Is it
say we could go ahead and start.
I could cut that. All right, I'll see if I can cut that next. I'll see if I remember. Anyway, as always, I am Ian, and this is Marty, and this is where the fun begins. Instead of the negativity you often find on the Star Wars side of the internet, we want to talk about the things we love about Star Wars, how it enriches our lives, community, culture, fans, media, anything at all. So, as always, if you have anything for us, reactions, questions, requests, suggestions for future segments, anything at all, throw them in the comments, and we will see what we can do. And don't forget to check us out on all the socials at SW Culture Live, everywhere except for Facebook. Facebook is complicated. That's so about that. If you have anything for us, today's episode mostly is going to be reacting to answers that you all had on X, Twitter, for the Star Wars what if idea, like like hypothetical situations of what if this happened or alternate realities, like what are the consequences if this went differently. We had some nice attention on that tweet post thread on X, and we are gonna talk through some of those today. And if you have anything to add, if we miss anything, because I mean we didn't go, I don't know about you, Marty, but I didn't go down any deep crazy rabbit holes thinking about this stuff. Figured we would just let it hit us and just two dudes talking about hypothetical Star Wars realities. So if you have anything to add, just throw it in the comments. Yeah, we're going to start as usual with fun facts about each host to help you get to know us a little bit better each episode. So, Marty, fun fact, what you got?
No, well, last week, we had off. We had things going on. I was on vacation. I took a trip to the beach with my family, and we spent the whole week there, getting tan, enjoying the beach, enjoying the water. I slept quite a bit on that beach, to be honest with you.
Nice. On the beach.
Yeah, because we had like these beach chairs. We had umbrella. I don't know, for some reason when I'm at the beach, I'm very relaxed. When I'm very relaxed, I'm very tired.
That's fair.
Also, we did find a lot of shark teeth while we were there too.
Shark teeth? Wow. Wait, what beach was this? What ocean is this?
It's the Atlantic Ocean. We were in North Carolina.
Nice. Wow, shark teeth. I've never found those. We found some interesting shells, but I don't think I could fall asleep on the beach. I think I could fall asleep like at a beach house, like at the pool, but I don't think out in, I feel like I'd be like, who's going to run around me? Who's going to throw a Frisbee and hit my head? Who's going to steal my stuff?
Luckily, this is a fairly like a good community. It's not like one of those beaches that's like tourist attraction beach. It's like you go to like a condo, or most of it's like residential area as well. So fairly safe.
Nice. Okay, good. That's a great fun fact. My fun fact is, I had it. My fun fact is that our youngest, the youngest child is just starting to crawl, which is adorable and very dangerous because now they can just get anywhere. So everything was kind of like toddler proofed, but not. We have to go through and make sure it's all like crawling baby proofed, because there's stuff that the toddler knows not to put in their mouth. She basically knows like what's food and not food, and she doesn't put things in her mouth. The 9-10 month old is not that smart and now can get everywhere on the house. So yeah, we're gonna have to we had to kind of adjust our strategies there. But also, we get to do all those fun little videos where we get to see what he picks. Like, is he going to pick a red lightsaber or a green or blue lightsaber? Or is he going to pick Bulbasaur, Charmander, or Squirtle? We get to do all those fun things. So that's my fun fact. So those are pretty good ones. Yeah, I forgot to mention we were off last week. We sorry you missed us, but he was on vacation and my kiddo had a theater thing, so we were able to. If there was a time to take a week off, Star Wars news wise, I think it was that week. Not a whole. I was going through the news for the last 2 weeks, and there wasn't really much going on. Speaking of
quiet.
news, let's get. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I would just say it was actually very quiet. You're right.
Yeah, just there's news in other areas, not so much in Star Wars land, I guess. All right, speaking of news, let's go over to Star Wars Underworld's Instagram page, where I get my Star Wars news from. I went back. The first thing I want to start with was Mark Hamill tells comic book he won't return as Luke Skywalker in the new Jedi Order movie. I am so grateful to George Lucas for letting me be a part of that back in the day, the humble days when George called Star Wars the most expensive, low-budget movie ever made. We never expected it to become a permanent franchise and part of pop culture like that. But my deal is I had my time. I'm appreciative of that, but I really think they should focus on the future and all the new characters. So, yeah, I kind of agree with that. He had his, he had 6 movies about his story, 9 movies really. I guess 6. He's not. The prequels really have nothing to do with him directly. So he had 6 movies about his story. I mean, yeah, I think it's probably time to move on a little. What else? We had lots of FYC Fest. I don't know what exactly that is, but a lot of cast members and writers and droids showed up at that event. We had some behind the scenes of Andor photos. That looks fun. I bet you that was a fun scene to film. Those scenes on Yavin before we knew it was Yavin.
Yeah.
I mean, they all looked grimy and gross, so I'm sure that wasn't super comfortable. But happy first birthday to the Acolyte. I am still sad that seems to be not coming back still as of now. I was reading something about Manny Jacinto and how he's how awesomely nice he is to everybody he meets, all the fans and everybody. And I don't know if you've seen the clips of him training for his saber scenes, but it's just incredible, the physicality that the things he can do. Freaking Sith ninja. It's awesome. But happy first birthday to the Acolyte. I think I could do a rewatch of that pretty soon. We got this kind of a Star Wars lull coming up here. We got Alien Earth, the alien horror show that came out. Cobb Vanth and Nemec, the actors for both of those characters, are in that show. So if you're into space horror, maybe that's something you could want to check out. The Revenge of the Sith soundtrack is being released on lava-colored vinyl in a new limited edition set. So that's pretty awesome. I don't really do vinyls, but for the people that do, I like how it's coming back. I do like how that's a thing. According to a new report from Hollywood Reporter, actress Mia Goth has joined the cast of Star Wars Starfighter as the villain. The role was previously offered to Mikey Madison, who turned it down. But a few other details from Hollywood Reporter. The plot revolves around Ryan Gosling's character protecting a younger character from evil pursuers, and Mia Goth will play one of the pursuers. Production is slated to begin this fall in England. I am ready. Spoilers for Star Wars. There you go. There's the horror. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle is getting a DLC titled The Order of the Giants. I'm not sure what that has to do with Star Wars, but I just scrolled past it and thought it was interesting. Fan art by Zeke's Playground on X. This was pretty fun. That moment was pretty cool. And someone commented, "There's always a bigger fish."
That's
Good
pretty
stuff.
funny.
Happy birthday, Natalie Portman. I just saw a thing circling around of her on. Oh, I forget who was interviewing her, but it was pretty fun. And then there's a quote. Lastly, there's a quote from Star Wars: The Clone Wars, Episode 3. Season 3, Episode 6. The Academy: Those who enforce the law must obey the law. Interesting quote at this point in our present history. But yeah, that's as far as there's some updates from Hollywood Reporter about some stuff coming up. But yeah, kind of a slow news week. But we can go the other direction and look in history for on this day in Star Wars history. So that is Marty's specialty. Take that away.
All right. Today is June 11th. And this day in Star Wars history, in 2014, actor Harrison Ford, who played Han Solo, suffers a broken leg while shooting a scene for The Force Awakens, forcing a 2-week hiatus in production.
Oh no, I did not know about that.
I remember this. I remember it being all over the news. Apparently, the rumor is, I'm not sure if it actually was confirmed or not, was that he got his leg caught in the door, in one of the doors to the Millennium Falcon.
Oh man. Oh, that's so heartbreaking. He's already like, I don't care about Star Wars at all, and then like now his like iconic ship like broke his leg. Oh no. That sucks. Sorry, Harrison Ford.
Yeah,
I feel like
I'm surprised. I'm surprised it wasn't the airplane crash. Like that, I think that comes later.
Oh, what was that one? I don't know about that one.
During, I think there's like a time off of production of one of the this movie. He was flying an older aircraft, and it crashed.
Harrison Ford was?
Yep, because he's a pilot. He's a real pilot, and he had a crash land. Yeah, and he had a crash land on a golf course.
Well, it's probably at least 2 weeks after this date. If he had a broken leg, he probably wasn't flying any planes.
Probably. It was either maybe after this, or maybe it was before. I gotta go through my production history.
Your Harrison Ford history.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was an interesting one. I like those that I like the other fun facts about through history are cool too. Like, oh, this was released on this day. That's cool too. But these little fun facts that I have no idea about, I think I might prefer those. Now on to my much stupider segment. You know what holidays in 3 days is Father's Day, and we may have a compilation video of this segment coming out. I decided I might do it myself. I might just do it, just make it happen. But we're gonna do now we're gonna go for the dad joke of the week, and this one for all of you who were in marching band growing up, what do you call a drum major in Beskar armor? A Bandalorian. Yeah. Yeah. Don't ever think too hard about these because it's just so much dumber than you think. So anyway, wow, we did really well. Only 13-14 minutes. We're gonna move on to the meat of the episode. We put up a post on X, as I said, and we got some really good responses to it about what would you want to talk about? What would you want to hear discussed about a Star Wars what if, like alternate realities, or if something went differently, or you know, the idea of the Marvel what if, but if it's applied to Star Wars, just change something and how would it look? So I'm just gonna pull up a random one here. Let me see. I'll go in order. This was number 1. What if Padme, Qui-Gon, and Obi-Wan escaped Naboo without damage and made it to Coruscant without needing to stop on Tatooine? Okay, so it's episode 1, obviously. They escape Naboo. They escape the blockade, Trade Federation blockade. but their ship is not damaged. They're not leaking fuel. They can make it to Coruscant, and they don't need to stop on Tatooine. So I guess the biggest and most obvious thing is that Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan never meet Anakin. So that changes a good deal. Yeah. So let's separate it into two categories. What do you think would have happened with the rest of the galaxy? Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan, Naboo, Coruscant, all that. How does that play out? And then what happens to Anakin?
Well, I think the Anakin one would be kind of easier. He'd probably still be a slave with his mom on Tatooine. He probably won't even enter the Boon to Eve race because he has no sponsor. Watto's not sponsoring him anymore. Yeah. So he'd probably just live his days as a slave until something happens. He might get a little bit more aggressive. He might find out he might actually have some Jedi powers or whatnot.
I think he would definitely, if anyone is going to accidentally start using the Force, I think it would be him. I think he would discover it one day. Like, he was already working on a scanner to try and locate his... I remember that line. He was already working on a scanner to try and locate his slave thing in his body somewhere, like a transmitter or whatever, that they, explode if you try and escape. So I know he was already working on that. And I feel like as he grows up and gets better and better at fixing things, I feel like he would figure that out, I feel like he'd eventually figure it out, and he'd take it off he'd take it off himself. He'd deactivate the one in his mom, and I don't know, steal a ship. Like, it's a spaceport, so maybe they'd get out.
I like that. I feel like they would. They would definitely escape. Probably go to the moon of Iago, or Iago, however you pronounce it, because that's the only planet he kind of knows, to see if these angels are real.
Yeah. Yep. His mom might know other places, like, if there's,
because she was brought to Tatooine by Gardula.
Oh, okay. I didn't remember that.
At least that was the Legends tale. I think it might still be canon.
Okay.
But on the flip side, on the Obi-Wan, Qui-Gon,
the rest,
Naboo, and all that, I feel like that will also play out differently, because the Jedi Council is not going to think that Qui-Gon's crazy, because they got no mention of a Sith trying to attack them.
Yeah, they have no. Yeah.
So I feel like it'll be more of a. I feel like they'd still try to go back to Naboo to try to, get
Padme
it back.
would. She
Padme
just
would.
wanted. Yeah, she just. Sorry, I look green for some reason. Is that better? I don't know. Maybe it's my camera or lighting weird or something. See, now it's too bright. God, it's killing me. Whatever, I'm living with that. But yeah, Padme definitely wanted to go back. Like, Anakin in the rest of episode 1 didn't really affect anything except for blowing up that station, which let the Gungans win that battle that they were losing.
Well, it also, I think, actually, thinking about it, her meeting Anakin kind of humbled her a little bit, because she's used to the places like Naboo, where it's nice, royal, regal looking. didn't even realize that slavery still existed. And
Right.
so she's like, well, these people need my help more, in a sense. So it kind of humbles her to be, a little bit nicer to look at other people who are in need, not just Naboo.
Who needs a Greedo cosplay when you have green light? The thing is, I have no green light. I don't know where the green light, the greenish tint is coming from. I have red lightsabers and blue lightsaber over there.
I
And
think
it's
it's your
supposed to be
backlight.
purplish. I think you're right. I think it's because of the because it's summer and the sun hasn't gone down yet. This room is not dark, and it's something's weird about that. Choppa no bada, or whatever he says in Huddies. Anyway, yeah, I think so then if they hadn't met Anakin, then like, are you saying like maybe the conversation with Padme on the plane maybe convinced her that she should be home with her people, or would she probably would have done that anyway?
She probably, I mean, she might have gone back, but she might have gone about it a different way. Maybe, I don't know. I feel like that the whole getting to Naboo would still be the same. She'd probably, well, I don't know, because her conversations with Palpatine seems to be like she had a change of like personality, and not just because the switch of Keira Knightley and
Well, yeah, that too.
But I don't know. I feel like it'd be the same but a little different. It wouldn't affect the plot a whole lot if they didn't meet Anakin.
Right. Now, episode 2 and 3, and the world as a whole definitely would have been different, obviously. So let's say he's doing his own thing. Let's say he, like, I don't think that they find him. I think there's a better chance that Palpatine ends up finding him rather than the Jedi finding him, especially with their judgment being clouded by Palpatine and stuff. But so they're moving on without a chosen one training. They just have, I don't know, throughout the second episode, they just have. Oh, and throughout the Clone Wars, there's no Anakin. It's Obi-Wan, and there's different Jedi doing different things. But I mean, there are missions that probably very few Jedi other than Anakin or Obi-Wan could have successfully handled. And I don't know, some things would have gone better without Anakin, some things would have gone worse.
I feel like the war would be a lot shorter.
Yeah.
I think it was only dragged on just so that way they could basically smear the Jedi reputation.
Yeah.
But since
and it had to be long enough to be convincing.
Yeah, and since Obi-Wan doesn't have Anakin, they can't be the poster boys for the Republic. So,
and Anakin saved Obi-Wan's life a lot. So Obi-Wan may not have survived the Clone Wars. I mean, on the bright side, no Vader unless Palpatine finds him.
Right.
So there's no, like, what are you gonna do that whole thing with Dooku? Dooku's not hunting down hundreds of Jedi. He's not gonna win every single one of those battles. Sorry, he's a great duelist, but he's no Vader. So it would either be, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because Maul. I mean, that probably wouldn't have gone any differently.
to be honest, I think Maul. I think if they didn't see Maul on Tatooine, and they first meet up with him on Naboo, they both Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan probably would have less of a chance of defeating him than they already sort of did. So they both probably would have been wiped. Because
I feel they would have been completely taken by surprise.
Yeah, I mean, they looked surprised when they first saw him when they saw him through that big door, and we had Duel of Fates. But Qui-Gon's like, "All right, let's go. Let's do this."
Yep. He was like, "All right." Figured he'd be here. Cool. I mean, we could talk about this one, probably all of these forever, but let's move on to another one.
And if anyone else has anything else to go in.
Oh, like, yeah. Feel free to type in comments. Like we'll probably do these what if episodes like every so often. It's a good thing to have fun and imagine. Excuse me. I'm not drinking beer. Padme survives the birth of Luke and Leia, and she has to survive the newly formed Empire while staying in hiding with the kids from the relentless pursuit of Vader. That's a show right there. I would watch the hell out of that show. That would be awesome. Like a drama. He gets close, they escape, someone helps them, like it's their own little like the path, you know. They'd probably use that Jedi path where the Jedi are escaping, but it's like his own love of his life, and it's his own children, so like he can sense them probably at least as strong as he can sense Obi-Wan.
Yeah, I feel like she would first maybe be disguised as, or if not held up somewhere on Alderaan with Bail and Brea.
Okay.
Just because, you know, she is alive. She needs a place to hide, and what other place than with somebody you already know? You can't go back to Naboo. Someone's gonna rat you out there pretty quick.
Yeah.
So you go. So you hide out at your
nose to check Naboo. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like, if we're going with like, what if she just didn't die there? Then Bail Organa is right there. Like he would offer them. I feel like he would offer them security, safety.
Yeah, and then they would, you know, kind of form the Rebel Alliance with on their side, and then meet up with Mon Mothma at some point, or maybe she would run the path. Maybe parts of the show might come out.
I'm just not totally sold on Padme being a part of the rebellion, because she is just like, even though Anakin has now become this like awful thing. Well, first of all, people didn't really know. Like, they wouldn't know that Anakin was now Vader, but I can't see her just being like, "Oh, yeah, I'm now against Anakin." Like in this rebellion, like I feel like she would want to try and find a way to get to him. Not with the kids, like, hey, let's get a family, not like that, but like she would want to find a way to try and reach him with words somehow.
If she somehow found out, yeah, she probably would, but I don't think, because Anakin becoming Darth Vader isn't knowledge to everybody. Like, so he's literally a man of mystery. So
I guess they thought he was dead.
Yeah, they thought he died.
So Obi-Wan. Okay, yeah. So Obi-Wan would have told her, like, yeah, he's gone. Like he hurt you, tried to kill me. I did what I had to do. So I just can't see. I don't know. I can't see her immediately being like, oh, okay, I'm on your side now. I think she would just want to have her own. Like she's committed to the Republic, but she now.
Have you watched the deleted scenes?
The what? Deleted scenes?
Deleted scenes of Revenge of the Sith?
I don't know. Maybe.
It kind of plots out like they're expecting the Republic to kind of go in a different direction once the war is over, something that would be less freedom to them, basically, and so it kind of sets up the rebellion before the rebellion's even needed. It has her. It's got her, Bail Organa, Mon Mothma. Believe it or not, she never made the final cut of Revenge of the Sith, but she's in all the deleted scenes.
Wow.
And even a senator from, get this, Gorman, and somebody else. Yeah, they were all talking about how things are going to change after the war. So it's up there. At first, it's going to be their responsibility to make sure that the chancellor relinquishes his power, to make sure that the people still have, basically a choice. And if not,
interesting,
we're going to need a backup plan.
Yeah. Yeah, I think she might get there eventually, but she did just have 2 babies, and she did just lose the love of her life at the hands of someone who was it was central to this rebellion. So I think it might take a minute, and there is the whole Anakin's probably hunting for the kids situation. I guess he does that anyway, though, right?
He doesn't. He doesn't know anything
about
Luke
the kids
Leia until after Luke blows up the Death Star. Because then the information is revealed. It was him and Boba Fett in the end of the first issue, I believe, of the 2015 run. He's like, "So, have you caught the name of the rebel pilot who blew up the Death Star?" And Boba Fett's like, "Yeah, Luke Skywalker." And he's like, and Vader just is like, "Oh."
They couldn't have just gave him a different name. Like, why did they have to link him to the?
I think it was a propaganda thing, and
safe name to have.
Well, they thought Anakin died, so that, and I guess just a random last name would have been fine. I mean, you got different Smiths and Millers and whatnot. And
it went to Owen Lars. Like, he could have been.
Lars.
Luke Lars does sound.
Luke Lars.
It's not the best.
Not terrible, but
could be worse. But it could be way better. Yeah. All right, let's move on to this one. You highlighted one here. What if the Empire kept the clones? That takes us into Clone Wars Bad Batch Rebels territory. So I think that could be good.
Out of all of them, I thought that one was pretty interesting to talk about. Just because what would happen if they kept the clones? Like, the only issue is it was based on resources, and the resources were basically being depleted, and that's why they kind of had to switch to recruits in a way.
Right.
And to basically wash their hands to say that the Sith had anything to do with it, they blew up Kamino.
Mm-hmm. Wait, I'm gonna do the thing. Yeah. No, it's been out for how many years? But yeah, they blow up Topeka City, and they so let's say, what if the Empire kept the clones? Let's say that is predicated upon them using Omega's DNA, or they somehow found a way to, they got a new host that is just as good. Like, they'd have to do that. So let's just assume that happened. So they just kept producing clones throughout the reign of the Empire. I don't know. I feel like clones were better warriors than stormtroopers, right?
By a long shot.
So yeah. So I think just in general effectiveness of effectiveness of rebel missions probably would go down. You can't. They just generally be better. Not as many guerrilla efforts would succeed. Not as many like especially in Rebels, that little crew of 5 or whatever 6 makes a lot of stormtroopers look real dumb, and I'm not sure that they would be as successful and all of them survive as long if those were all clones. But you have to keep in mind too that some clones didn't keep their chip and weren't affected by the chip, so you would have clones like Rex, and you'd have Ahsoka like trying to get through to the rest of these clones, like, hey, you don't have to do this. This is not what you were fighting for. This is now an empire. This is now oppression. So there would be complications there.
Well, I feel like with that though, especially the newer batches, they wouldn't need an inhibitor chip or anything like that because they know that they are the Empire. This is what the Empire stands for, and they don't have Jedi to really teach them right from wrong. In a sense,
True. Yeah, I guess I'm thinking about all the clones that are current, like the ones that they're keeping.
Yeah.
From the Republic, from the end of the Republic days, like right at Order 66, you have hundreds of thousands of clones out there. Mm-hmm. Like all of them, either their inhibitor chip needs to work, or they would, or they need to not believe people like Rex when they're saying, "Hey, you need to not be doing this."
Yeah. Or it could be like the mission from except kind of backwards of like from the original Battlefront 2, where it's clone like the 501st Legion taking on the clones that the Kaminoans made. I don't know if you remember that. It's a mission. It's right after. In the original Battlefront 2, there's a mission where they had to go to Topoka City.
Oh, yeah. Yep. I remember. Yep.
But instead of it being them being newborn clones, it'll be the clones that came before the Empire. So it'll be older clones versus a newer generation.
Ooh, dark stuff.
I feel like the newer generation would be like the those clones that the Empire made on Mount Tantus to go against the Bad Batch.
Yeah. Gross. Yeah. Cool. I want to move on to another one. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. We just did that one. Let's do this one. This one has a lot of fun things. What if Padme lived? We kind of covered that. What if Qui-Gon Jinn lived? We kind of covered that in a previous episode. About, I think Anakin would not have turned to the dark side if he had Qui-Gon as a trainer, as a master, versus Obi-Wan. But that's a previous video. We don't have to go into that right now. What if Luke missed the shot? Yeah, I don't know. That's
you could actually read about that one from Star Wars Infinities.
Really?
Yeah, they actually did one where his proton torpedo wasn't fully charged, so it didn't really do a whole lot of damage. So therefore, the Death Star wasn't at full power when it hit Yavin 4. A lot of rebel rebel leaders escaped. Leia was captured and put on house arrest by Palpatine on Coruscant. And there's a little bit more to that, but I can't remember.
That's
funny. Yeah, it's a Star Wars Infinities, but during the Dark Horse era of Star Wars.
Yeah. Okay. What if Leia and Luke had switched? I haven't thought about this ever. So what if Leia and Luke had switched?
I feel like their personalities would still be the same regardless if they switch, because I don't know, I feel like that's kind of like their core of who they are. So Luke might still be, but I still want to do this. I still want to do that. Well, Luke, you can't do that. You got a Senate meeting coming up here, son.
Yeah. So he's so let's say the Organas wanted a baby boy instead of
Yeah.
they wanted adopting. So they take Luke and they raise him to be like a senator, like Leia. They're high profile life there, and then Obi-Wan is watching Leia, and we have seen Obi-Wan and young Leia interact in the Obi-Wan show. So I mean, she's a feisty kid, frustratingly at times. And then let's see, would she need to go? I mean, yeah, she would obviously have the drive to leave Tatooine and go fight the Empire, like join the rebellion against the Empire. I just like my my woke self is wondering, like, if she would have had all the same opportunities as Luke to be piloting and stuff. Like, I want to say yes because it's Star Wars and it's not 1950s America, or 2025 America. But
I feel like since she's younger, she would be able to still fly that T-16 Hopper as a dust crop.
Yeah. She like anything that Luke could do, I'm sure that she could do, as far as like piloting and learning those things. And I know, and she was sensitive with the Force, so if she had been trained like Luke was trained, or if she, let me see, how did all that get started in the droids came? So it's Luke that escaped with the plans and put them in R2. I feel like Luke would have bungled that somehow.
He would, yeah. I feel like he would.
Like, Leia is shrewd and cunning and like a really good actress when it comes to like just facing down Vader. She is just bold and strong and will just lie to Vader's face. And I don't know if I see Luke being successful at all that and getting away with what she got away with. So there's that. Luke's more of like a I don't know. He seems, I guess if
he tried to put up a fight a little bit.
She was raised and educated on Alderaan, like with the best that money can buy on Alderaan, and he was raised in the sand with moisture evaporators. So I guess maybe education might have had a good deal to do. She's very good at knowing what to say to people in lots of different political situations. So I guess there's background there.
Yeah. So he'd probably be diplomatic about it. Yeah. I did want to say my wife. She was like, I told her, like, we're talking about what ifs. So I brought this one up as one of them, and she was like, she would Leia would probably jump to the dark side real quick.
Really?
Because like Leia's personality is kind of like Anakin's personality in a way. Like there's similarity in that. So especially I feel like she would probably jump quick. I mean, probably not quick, but like she'd probably jump to the dark side.
Interesting.
I don't know a whole lot about that because we only discussed it for a little bit before I had to, come get ready.
Yeah. I don't know. I'll have to think about that. I don't know if I agree with that at face value. She is definitely dedicated to the good just as much as Luke and Obi-Wan and Padme, but I guess she when you look at her as like a feisty kid, yeah, that does seem like Anakin. But the only reason Anakin turned to the dark side was because he was manipulated for a really long time in ways that I don't think Luke or Leia, like, no one had access to them the same way, so I think it was cool that they I don't know.
Yeah,
I have to think
I'm
about
not,
that. Yeah. There were some other cool things. What if Dooku lived? I don't think he was living for very long after that anyway. I mean, he's older. He was a good fighter, but his role was, yeah.
He probably
what if
also been put on death row or something.
Yeah. What if Naboo fell? What if Obi-Wan Kenobi shaved? He would. I feel like that's like 80% of his power gone.
He'd feel less confident about himself.
Yeah, I'd feel less confident about him. He's young. Although beardless Obi-Wan did defeat Darth Maul, so, well, kind of.
Yeah.
What if Shmi had been rescued? I feel like that's just handing Palpatine another way to manipulate Anakin.
I feel like regardless, he would have been manipulated because his mother dying caused the anger, which Palpatine could sense.
Yep.
And so he already went from fear to anger. He's going to teach him how to use that anger that he's got.
Yep. And like he can use fear if his mother is alive. Like, especially during the Clone Wars, like, people know who he is, and if they could try and kidnap his mom or something to get, like, you can make the case that she'd always be in danger. So I think that's just handing Palpatine another weapon to use against Anakin. Last one I have here. What if Anakin does not fall to the dark side and instead leaves the Order to raise the family on Naboo? So this is kind of similar to the other thing we were talking about.
Yeah, I'd say it'd be the split in the timeline would take place right there as Windu and the Masters go and arrest Palpatine. I would say
yes, yeah, like maybe he doesn't attack Windu, or he doesn't kill Windu. He just kind of, like, because that's a irreversible thing that he did, right? Cutting off Windu's arm and shoving him out the window. But maybe he just kind of gets in between and stops the fight, or maybe like incapacitates Windu without harming him somehow, or let's like, what would have happened if Anakin or even like just stayed in the temple?
Yeah, that's some things like he probably. I feel like that right there. He'd be like, "Well, he's like, I don't want any more part of this Order. I can't deal with all this craziness."
Yeah. And yes,
I just want to be with
Bud
my
Light
wife.
Lime. It's a Bud Light Lime summer. That's what's happening. It's the perfect cool beer. Just saying. Yeah. So yeah, I like that one. I think, what if he says, like, yeah, that's Sith Lord, and then starts thinking about like maybe the logical side like came back to him. It's like, hey, people don't die in childbirth. We have the technology to like not let that happen. So maybe we just be extra safe about this. I'm a Jedi. I can feel things like extra security. Everybody feels healthy, seems healthy. We'll get the best care available. It'll be fine. And then he like finds out that they went to arrest Palpatine and Palpatine killed all these Jedi. So what was the... and leaves the order to raise the family on Naboo.
I feel like that he'd be able to because Windu would have killed Palpatine.
Do you think so?
I think so. It was only Anakin that stopped him.
I think
Windu's
that
like, I'm
was a
gonna end this.
show.
Because he was like, I'm going to end this once and for all.
I
Like,
know. But I feel like that was a manipulation. I feel like that was a show for Anakin. I wish that it wasn't. I wish I lived many years believing that Mace Windu could have taken out Palpatine, but I really don't think he could have. He beat Yoda. I don't think Windu is like yeah, he's a great swordsman and he might be able to beat Palpatine in a straight lightsaber fight, but I don't think that's what Palpatine would have allowed to happen. I think he would have just overpowered him somehow with the Force, with the darkness. He might even like Mace Windu, his lightsaber form, even like it's dangerous because it tiptoes on the line between the light and dark side. He lets himself enjoy the fight, enjoy the hunt, maybe enjoy the kill. So that was weird. Did that just turn off?
It did, and I had to turn it back on. It might be dead, but I don't know.
Well, obviously not. Maybe I should just try turning mine back on when mine die, which will be about 8 minutes from now. Yeah, I just don't think Palpatine gets to where he is, and then Mace Windu is one that dispatches him, especially once it's one-on-one. Like, I think he was just toying with Mace Windu until Anakin got there so that he could put on a show. But let's say, oops, what was I looking at? Leaves the order to raise the family on Naboo. So I don't think he could have stayed on Naboo because, like, even without, well, the Jedi Order is not as decimated if Anakin's not there. He doesn't go to the temple. Palpatine doesn't go to the temple. He's very busy sitting at his desk for some reason. I
feel like they would regroup. Like Windu would probably escape. I feel like Windu would escape, fill Yoda in, and then I don't know. They might tag team it from there.
I love your faith in Mace Windu, but I don't think anyone's escaping. I think Yoda will feel that Windu is gone, just like he feels all of the other Jedi dying. But I think the Jedi, but there is still a temple full of Jedi, and there are still some leaders around. So I think the Jedi would regroup and figure out what's going on. They're down like half the council, but I think they would even probably try and reach out to Anakin or Obi-Wan, or Ahsoka even. And
Order 66 will still happen, I believe.
Yeah, Order 66 will happen, but the temple will be okay. I mean, the clones would, I guess he'd send the clones in and they'd get some, but I think without Anakin, I don't know.
I feel like the temple probably wouldn't be much of a priority. Maybe.
Yeah.
They all had trust in Anakin as well as the clones. So if the clones just by themselves come marching in, they're like, something must be up, because nobody called for the clones to come marching up the temple.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of how much of the damage was Anakin and how much was just the clones, because we do see some scenes where it's just clones overwhelming Jedi in the temple. So they might still have sacked the temple, and the similar thing might have happened. Like, they're not used to Jedi are Jedi, and they're awesome, but they're not all used to deflecting that many bullets from like apt warriors.
Maybe more would escape than the ones that Anakin would have killed. They probably would have escaped.
Yeah, and gotten messages out, regrouped. I don't think, for the last part of this though, I don't think he would be able to raise the family on Naboo, because that would not keep them safe from the Emperor. The Emperor would be like, hey, yeah, we're gonna kill your whole family. We're gonna you can't do this and that'll just leave. Like, they'd have to go into hiding.
Especially if you used to be a former poster boy of the war, you're going to be recognized on the Chancellor / Emperor's home planet.
Yeah, they would have to. I think, like we talked about before, I think they'd have to go to Alderaan or wherever the rebellion, like Yavin, or wherever the rebellion is currently forming.
Well, we always keep forgetting Chandrila.
I keep forgetting what?
Chandrila. They could always go with Mom Mothma.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's senators. Yeah, any number of Gorman. Go hang out with the spiders. Yeah, there's any number of planets that would probably work. But he wouldn't be able to just, I'm retired and live a peaceful life on Naboo. I don't think. I think
they might go to Tatooine.
I don't think he's going back. He's not going back there. They'll swing by. Now his mom's already gone by that point, but they would maybe swing by and take care of Watto real quick. But all right, I think that was a good touch on a bunch of those responses. There's even more than those. Maybe we'll do another one down the road. Those were all kind of prequel focused. I'm not sure why that happened. You all on X, Twitter X, just focused on like Padme and Anakin a lot. What about like the original trilogy or some of the Ahsoka, Mando sequels? Think about things there too.
There might be more that we just haven't looked at. There's a lot on not just X, but on Instagram as well.
And Threads.
And Threads.
I think. Cool. That was a good idea for a post by whoever made that post. It was me. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah. But anyway, that will take us to our last segment of the evening, which is Star Wars trivia. And Marty has a question that is related to something we discussed on this episode. So take it away, Marty.
Okay, it's a little ridiculous, but it does kind of fit to one of the things we were talking about, and that is, it'll go. My computer's slow, so if it's on there, I do apologize. It won't show me.
No, it's not on here yet. Okay, now it's
okay. There it goes.
There it goes.
All right. The question is, model type in the Royal Cruiser is the Royal Cruiser used to escape the Trade Federation occupation of Naboo? Is it A, an H-type Nubian yacht, B, a J-type diplomatic barge, C, a J-type Nubian starship, or D, a J-type star skiff?
I know it. I'll let the timer go for a little bit, just in case people in the comments want to answer. But I remember this. One of the things that I find that I remember the best is I just remember the audio of lines in my head. I have a really good ear memory, and I remember the exact line that Qui-Gon says to Watto when he's describing the ship. And he goes, and he just lists it. He's like, what kind of parts you need? And he says this exact line almost. I'm going to say it. He goes, He goes J-type 327 Nubian. So I'm going to go with C, J-type Nubian.
You'd be correct.
Boom. Thank you, ears. See, my lightsaber died. I'll test it after this. See if I can just turn it back on like you did. All right. That's our show for tonight. That was a good one. Like to use my imagination there. We hope you enjoy what we're doing here. We know Star Wars fandom and comment sections and the world in general can sometimes get dark and toxic, but it doesn't have to be that way. We are trying to bring fun and positivity to the Star Wars side of the internet. Remember, there are more of us. Again, if you have anything for us, questions, requests, suggestions for segments, anything at all, throw them in the comments and we will see what we can do. Again, don't forget to follow us at SW Culture Live and follow me at Nerdiest Stepdad and follow Marty at Marty21794. I always have some kind of Star Wars or other nerdy stuff going on. And check in next week, Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern for another episode featuring the best of Star Wars culture. So, good night and may the Force be with you.